Here we go. Okay, hello everybody. We are live and I'm with Alyssa Ralph today. And Alyssa, in our interview for the summit, we talked a lot about diet affecting a dog's emotional state and reactivity and so forth. We're going to chat a little bit today about other aspects about reactive dogs. But first, I want to tell you who I've got with me. Her name is Boots, because she arrived wearing boots. You can see her little white boots. And she is one of the 12 foster puppies that I am raising for a rescue here in town. They rescued the mama dog and then discovered she was pregnant. So she had 12 puppies on New Year's Day, and this is one of them. This is Boots. And right before I decided, right before I went on this, and so yes, Radar, this is one of the puppies, but nope, you can go. I don't know what you were what you were eating. Here, you can go lie down. This is Bootsy. Um, and so I thought that she would like to be on the live stream with us because she loves to be cuddled. So it's hard work, but somebody's got to do it, right?
She is such a cutie.
So I hope she's not too distracting to you guys. But so Alyssa, I'm going to spotlight you now so that Bootsy won't be totally distracting to everybody.
I'll
She's
just be
looking
watching her
past.
in the background, besotted.
Oh, what's Radar doing over there? So we talked about diet and reactivity, but let's focus a little bit on behavior. And what do you think would be if someone is struggling with a reactive dog, what's the first thing you might suggest for them to do to help the dog? I'm going to spotlight you right now.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, the
Okay.
first thing for me is always looking at health, always checking out physical health, making sure that they're physically healthy, because so often we see dogs that come through to us that have reactivity issues, and it all goes away once you sort out a physical health issue. And, that might be musculoskeletal, like muscles and joints that might be playing up. It might be their tummies that are hurting. It could be that their skin is sore, all sorts of different possibilities that are contributing to physical health, which is ultimately making them a little bit more grumpy, a little bit less tolerant, and then more likely to be showing these kind of barky, lungy, maybe slightly bitey behaviors that we so often associate with reactivity. So that's where my head will always go straight off. Could we be looking at a health
You know
problem?
that that is so important because I think, and I'm probably, I think a lot of people listening could relate to this on days when you're feeling a little achy, like, and everything is, a little bit of a struggle, and maybe your back hurts, maybe you've got sore muscles or whatever. I find that for myself, I get a little more cranky, a little more
Absolutely.
irritable
Yes.
because stuff hurts. And we
Yes.
have to realize that, our dogs are the same way if something is hurting them. So that is such great advice for people to take that into consideration first. And suppose they go like to their veterinarian, the veterinarian checks the dog, everything looks fine, the dog is fine. So they come home and they don't really have an answer. So they think, something, my dog is being stubborn, my dog is being, you know, is resisting me, and they come up with all of these labels because they have a clean bill of health. What would you what would you
I
say
think
about that?
first of all, it's very, very normal. We as humans want something to explain why something is happening. So
Yeah.
if you come away from an appointment like that and you don't feel like you have answers, of course you're going to want to look deeper. And the first thing I really suggest doing is actually looking deeper into the health side, because so many of our dogs do just cover up their pain and discomfort when we take them to the vets.
Mhm.
If we think about what the vet surgery actually signifies for our dogs, it's a very stressful environment. If we just think about all of the smells, just for one component, we've got
Mm.
really weird smells. We've got smells of some of their potential triggers, other people and dogs, maybe some cats and small furries. We've got the smell of all of the drugs, and there's even the smell of death in there because a lot of animals do get put to sleep in the vet surgery.
Mhm.
And so when we're taking them into this cabin, it's terrifying for them because especially if they're not used to it, it's just going to be an assault on their senses.
Mhm.
When they go into places like these, they just get surged with adrenaline and their whole body just goes into fight or flight mode. And so they're going to be hiding up anything that might make them look a little bit more vulnerable. So if they are a little bit in pain or discomfort, they're going to pretend it's not there just for their self-protection, just to make sure that they
Mhm.
get through that alive. I mean, I recently worked with a gorgeous dog who we suspected there might be a little bit of grumbling pain, and we eventually got her x-rayed. She wasn't lame, she didn't do anything. We hadn't seen any issues with her gait in surgery. But once we had those x-rays come out, she had a full-on dislocated hip that had been dislocated for several years.
Oh
And
my
she
goodness.
didn't let it impact how she was walking. And I think that can really exemplify how much our dogs can cover up their pain and discomfort when they want to. And
Yeah.
so it's really important to take another look deeper past just what the vets can see in a 10-minute consult. And
Yeah.
that might be things like taking videos of your dog moving to show your vets, especially if you can slow it down. It really lets anyone watching that video really see the movement of those limbs to see whether there might be an issue there, but also seeing if they can spend longer with the vets, talking about maybe seeing a veterinary physio who can spend a lot longer with them, and start to really understand how they're moving and holding themselves, or even asking your vets if maybe a pain trial or something similar is applicable to your dog, where you can really hammer in and see whether actually long-term painkillers resolve the behavior or at least improve them. But we've got so many different avenues there to start unpicking whether pain is actually a factor here. And oftentimes it really is. We've got some science out there that says as many as 82% of behavior problems are caused or exacerbated by painful dogs.
Um,
So if we can start to pick that apart, it really gives us a better idea of how they're feeling.
yeah. And, as dog parents, a lot of us don't want to, acknowledge that maybe our dog is in pain. It makes us feel that, maybe we haven't been as diligent as we could be. But, you know, I, and what you're saying is so true about dogs covering up their symptoms, covering up their pain. It's a survival skill that they have. Animals that are weak often don't survive, so they don't want to reveal that weakness. They want to say, I'm fine, everything's fine, I feel
Exactly.
good, you
Yeah.
know? And so yeah, that's so interesting about that x-ray and showing up that she had that dislocated hip for years,
Yeah. It was
just learned
really
to tolerate it. Wow.
Yeah, it was an amazing case, and
Yeah.
I'm still working with her now, and she's such a beautiful girl. But since she's had corrective surgery, she's just come into her own. She's developed so much more of a cheeky character, and she's so much more independent and defiant. And it's amazing to see that once we've actually resolved that cause of the pain, obviously she's had to go through extensive physio as well to help rebuild that joint. But now that we're on the other side of it, she is doing amazing things and she continues to blow me away every time I see her. Um,
Oh,
I think as well, you touched on something really important that a lot of us as reactive dog guardians experience in our journey, which is that guilt and that feeling of shame of going, how did we not spot this sooner? Or how did we not understand all of these different factors? And I think it's really important, and it's something I touch on a lot with my clients, is that we need to almost go through a bit of therapy ourselves, whether that's just self-talk or going for professional help, because those feelings that we experience can often just snowball. As we go through this journey, we'll constantly, whenever we have a bad day, we'll turn it inwards. And that is not healthy because you do not deserve to be carrying around any of that guilt.
wow.
And it's something that I just see time and time again. And I just wish I could give everyone a big hug, basically, because it's so heartbreaking to see that they've internalized those feelings so deeply, when really there's nothing they could have done differently. Everyone that's here, everyone that wants to learn more about their dog's reactivity and help fix it, they're all doing the very best they can. And
Yes.
they're just trying so hard. And that's all we can ever ask of someone. And I think people really need to lean into that and go, actually, I am doing the best I can. I'm working within my resources and
Mhm,
I'm trying my best to help this other being. And
mhm.
if you can sit back and say that, then you're doing a great job.
Yeah. Yeah, we do the best we can with what we know at the time. And then as we learn, then we can do better. And that's, that's just a normal process. So often dog parents will tell me about things that are going on with their dogs. And then they'll say that they feel guilty because they haven't been able to manage it on their own. They haven't been able to help the dog enough to overcome the reactivity or the struggle or the behavior issue, whatever is going on. And it always makes me a little sad when they say that. I don't want them to feel guilty. And as you pointed out so well, to internalize that guilt, it's not healthy.
Yeah.
It's really not healthy. And um, people should seek out, as you said, seek out help for
Yeah.
it. And sometimes we can we can tell ourselves, look, I've done my best. Looking back, I wouldn't change anything except that I wish I knew more at the time. And how often do we say, if I only knew then what I know now? We say that all the time, right? And
But
it's
that's
it's
the
just part
inherent
of life.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the inherent part of the human experience. We are all constantly learning and growing.
Mhm.
And there's no possible way that someone at 20 could know what they know at 60. It's just not physically possible. And
Yeah.
we have to just embrace that fact that we are who we are at any given time. No one is perfect. But as long as you're willing to grow and develop, that's all we can ask for. And if it's in the name of your dog, then that's just a magical thing. And going on that journey and doing that learning with them is so powerful. And it really builds that relationship that you have with them.
Yeah.
So I've been on a journey myself with my own dog who was a reactive called Dougal. And
Mhm.
it's just taught me so much about dogs to start off with. It gave me a whole new level to learning about dog behavior and nutrition that I hadn't before, but also about myself. And I genuinely don't think I would be where I am today without him being in my life and throwing me all of these challenges that our reactive dogs like to throw up.
Yeah.
And it's just been a beautiful thing. And it is one of those where I wish I could just go out to everyone at the start of their journey and just say, you're not alone. You've got this, and you just have to strap in for the ride. Because it does actually take a village to raise a reactive dog, right? And to unpick all of that trauma that's there and all of those emotional responses. It takes a full team. You
Yeah.
cannot be expected to do it by yourself.
Mhm.
And I've relied on countless other people. I do this for my job, but I still rely on countless other people to help me in my journey.
Yeah.
And I think we're all in the same boat there, where we all recognize actually we need help sometimes, and that's okay.
Yeah, and that is so true, and I can so relate to that. And you're so right that our dogs are sometimes the best teachers we could possibly have, because if we truly love them and want to help them, we're going to try to find out things. And actually, the dog that was just poking his nose in here to check out the puppy a little while ago, he's he's a dog that I adopted right before COVID lockdown started.
Oh,
So when I adopted him, I had all these grand plans that we were going to do all these activities and go all these places together. And then guess what? None of that ever happened. And so for the first 2 years of his life, he never really saw anybody but me.
oh,
So
bless.
now when people come to the house or strangers come in, it really upsets him. So I had to go on that journey too. I had to discover, how am I going to support this dog? How am I going to help him? He missed out on the normal socialization experiences that he would have had, but that is what it is. There's nothing that we could have done to change that. And so now I have to figure out, how am I going to support him? So that's actually what led me to focusing on helping other people who are struggling with dogs that are reactive. So, as you say, they are our best teachers.
They really
It's an adventure. Bootsy is saying to me, I want to go back in my little house with my
Oh,
friends,
sweetheart.
with all my siblings, my brothers and sisters. There are 12 of them.
Oh,
She had
so
12
many
puppies.
puppies.
Mama dog had 12 puppies. Are so adorable. I could just cuddle every single one of them. And people say to me, "You doing okay?" I mean, that's a lot of work. I go, yeah, I know. I know what I signed up for. And the hours you spend picking up poop and doing all that other stuff for like 5 minutes of cuddling, it's all worth it.
It is, isn't it?
Worth it.
Oh. There is nothing in this earth better than puppy cuddles.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't have it any other way. So it's real. It talk about therapy. It really is therapeutic. I am going to miss them so much when they get adopted. I mean, the rescue is great. They're working on placing the puppies eventually when they're old enough. And they agreed to let them stay here with their siblings until they were 10 weeks old. A lot of times, 8 weeks is like that, but 8 weeks is such a fragile time for puppies. So I said, please, they need to stay here till they're 10 weeks. So they said, okay.
Amazing. Oh, that's so good
Yeah,
you're able to swing that. And,
I
those
know.
weeks
I
do make
know.
such a big
I
difference.
know. So they're 6 weeks. They're actually 6 weeks today. They were born
Oh,
on New Year's Day.
oh, that's so sweet.
I
Oh,
know. They're adorable. I love these guys. So anyway, but they're available for adoption. Anybody who's watching this who's interested, you have to apply and all that because the rescue is very diligent about placing each dog in the right home, which is
mm.
great. And I'm
And
glad I
I
don't have
wish
to
I lived
worry
across
about
the
that part of
pond.
it because that would be the hard part for me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, it's going to be
he is
such a
such a
difficult
cuddler.
day.
Let me just look before we wrap up. Let me just take a look on Facebook and see if
Absolutely.
anyone put in a comment or a question. And if anyone listening does have a question, nope, looks like we're good. And let me back here. Yeah. Okay. So Um, Alyssa, that is such awesome advice for people who are struggling with a dog that has emotional issues going on, because the body tells us, how to feel. It's like I mentioned earlier. If I'm feeling achy and sore muscles, I'm going to be a little cranky because the body tells our emotions what to do. So if you have a dog that's struggling emotionally, that is the best possible advice. Really make sure that there's nothing health-wise going on. There's no pain. And like you said, their skin might be sore and itchy, their tummy might hurt. They might, their muscles might be sore. There might be some kind of misalignment in their
Mm.
spines that needs work. So there are we have so many avenues. Puppies are, I don't know if you can hear puppies. They're starting to talk.
I can hear little yips in the
Maybe
background and
they're,
it's absolutely melting my heart.
yeah, so cute. You are very cute.
Oh,
Kisses. If they can have kisses. So
oh,
anyway,
it's making me so puppy broody.
I know. I know. Yeah, whoops. What's the matter? You got the hiccups? No, no. Okay,
Oh,
she's good. Okay. Are there any other parting words of advice that you'd like to leave with before we are starting tomorrow? And I want to tell folks Alyssa's interview with me is going to be on Thursday. And I'll send you the whole breakdown. I've got that ready. But the puppies are consuming. I'm blaming it all on the puppies that I'm behind
as
my
you should.
deadlines. Yeah, it's the puppy's fault. Um, so yeah, so Alyssa's interview with me is on Thursday. You are not going to want to miss that because we talk specifically about the things that you can do to adjust your dog's diet. that will make an impact. And honestly, before Alyssa and I chatted, I never realized how impactful it is to tweak a dog's diet, to make a little difference, to add a supplement or to, pay attention to ingredients. So you do not want to miss that. It's really going to make a difference in how you handle your dog. What, Bootsy? Are you saying it's time to sign off? Yes. And she's adorable. I love this puppy, but I'm not adopting any of them.
Oh no, not even Bootsy.
Not even Bootsy.
Oh,
No. No, I know. I have my hands full.
oh. I mean, it'll be a lot
Yeah, and
easier if 11 puppies have gone.
there you go. What's one more? Okay. So, Alyssa, thanks so much for joining us today for
Thank you,
this
Marilyn. Lovely to chat as ever.
wonderful little sneak peek into the summit that's starting tomorrow. We have tons and tons of people registered. So if you haven't registered yet, it is free to register. You do not want to miss these interviews. Every one of them is just mind-blowing. I had so much fun interviewing these people. It was an absolute thrill for me. Um, so any parting words of wisdom for the folks before we sign off?
I think just come along to all of the webinars and the interviews. You're going to learn so, so much from it.
Yes.
And that's the best thing you can do at this point. Just lock in, get a cup of tea, go and watch, just enjoy it, take away your learnings and ask questions as you go, and then you'll be sorted.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Okay, hopefully we'll see everybody. Um, I'm going to, in order to end the live stream, I have to close the Zoom. So thank you so much, Alyssa. It's
Thank
so
you,
nice to
Marilyn.
see you this morning. And hopefully we'll talk soon.
Yes, hopefully.
Okay,
I'll see you
bye-bye.
soon, Marilyn.